Hello, everyone. I'm Emmeline Muldoon from Emmeline's Astrology, and I'm here today with Jim Delacolli. We work together each month to talk about the new moon and the full moon that's happening. It's a great opportunity for us to get together to discuss the current astrology that's going on, as well as the mood of the moons. It seems a natural sort of pause each month to stop and look at the astrology at these big times, because a new moon is great for growth and planting new seeds, manifesting, and the full moon is a great time for releasing. So it's a good opportunity for us to get together each month and talk about these moons. Now, today we're here to talk about the new moon in Aquarius, and that takes place here on the east coast of the United States, 21st of January, 3:55 p.m. So with this new moon, it's a big one. I'm quite excited about doing this video, actually, because I've been thinking about this new moon for a long time. I've been excited about it. It's probably one of the biggest new moons of the year, I think. It's important for several reasons. Firstly, it's a supermoon, so it's really close to the Earth, so we're going to feel it more intensely. Secondly, it's the start of the Lunar New Year. The Chinese celebrate the new year on this new moon. So we're going into the year of the rabbit. And thirdly, the reason I think this new moon is really important is because it's in Aquarius at 1 degree. So it's at the beginning of the sign. A sign starts at 0, we're at 1. So this is a real opportunity for growth beginning. And it's because it's in Aquarius, I think what we're seeing here is we're looking at what's going to happen when Pluto finally moves into Aquarius in March and moves over to 0 Aquarius. So it's sort of given us a taster of the change and the craziness that's about to come, because it's been very slow. We've all been feeling quite stuck, but it's about to get quick and busy and moving forward. So this new moon is almost like a spotlight onto March to say what's going on with that part of my chart, my Aquarius part of my chart, and what's going to be moving on with the year. Okay, so I'll get the chart up for this moon so you can see what we're dealing with here. Can you see that, Jim?
Yep. Yes. It.
Good. Okay. Right. So, Jim, do you want to make some observations before we begin?
Yeah. I look forward to this moon, as I'm Aquarius ascendant, and I have Pluto and Uranus exactly conjunct at birth. So, what I've learned from the Aquarian energy, and hopefully you can see and figure out to a deeper perspective, is what I found is that being heavily Uranian or Aquarian, my timing can be off. I might be way before everybody else. Or I might bring back something that was of use in the past that everybody's rid themselves of. I've been commenting and find myself lately talking about I'm telling people to stop stating the obvious, and by that I have a way deeper meaning than of course the obvious, right? Which is quit talking about the past like you understand it. We've been talking about finding yourself. You should at this point be truly able to grasp things and patterns and rhythms, so that the past should have been making sense. But now we got to do the opposite here. You got to take it for the future and start testing to a way deeper degree of where we're going and why we're going there. You should have patterns in place, so it should make sense. And this first degree Aquarian moon should bring all that to you. And we'll discuss that later as we get through this. But don't be afraid to talk about what you think's coming up, because you have a very good sense. Pluto's run in Capricorn is about over, and it's time for you to assess what you know, but don't stay in that realm. Too many people are staying in that realm. Pluto's trying to leave Capricorn. It won't be gone for good until next January, but I mean, get with the energies and start moving forward. Don't be afraid. Get the fear out of there. And I think Emmeline and I'll talk about that in this in this moon. So
yeah. So yeah, because like I was saying, this, you know, it moves us into Aquarius. Pluto is moving into Aquarius. Like I said, it's on the 23rd of March, but it only stays there until the 11th of June this year. And then it won't fully move into Aquarius till January 2024. So this year, yes, there is that progress of moving forwards and the new beginnings and the changes that are coming. This definitely is going to be a big year for changes. But we at the same time, it's important to remember with Pluto then going back into the final degree of Capricorn in June, we're really finishing up as well. So there's the beginnings and the opportunity to move forwards and the growth that we're coming towards, which is exciting because we've been held back now for so long with Mars retrograde and the frustration. The year before that, we've had Saturn, Uranus. The year before that, we've had Saturn and Pluto come together. All these things have been restricting us. And, you know, it's like power control. And now, you know, that's played out a lot with lockdowns over the world and stuff like that. But now it's really showing us, okay, now we're seeing what needs to change, and now we're going to start with the changes. So this new moon is really important and it is exciting. But bear in mind, we're still going to be working with Pluto, as you can see, is that it's moving towards the end of the sign in Capricorn. So it's finishing up those, what needs to go with those institutions that have traditionally had control, whether that be, you know, sort of like the corporations or sort of the way that the politics work. Sometimes there's going to be changes to those sort of hierarchy systems, which is very big, which is why these periods in history often are big when you go back and chart Pluto in a Capricorn throughout history.
yes.
Which is a conversation for another day, really digressing a bit there. But yeah, so this is a very exciting moon and I really like it. And one of the things that's big about this moon that I look at in the chart, one of the first things I see is obviously Sun and Moon are together because that's a new moon, but they're hanging out with Capricorn. So I just wanted to say a little bit about that because Sun and Pluto, when they come together in a chart, in a birth chart, I call it when I'm doing a reading, actually, I call it the life coach element because I see that as someone who has that energy, who has that ability to sort of mold energy in a way in which they can inspire, change, and transform people. It's almost like you're shining at transforming, because the Sun is how you shine, Pluto is how you transform. So when you see those two come together in a chart, it's like, oh, opportunity to manifest, to change the energy. And so this new moon is really big for that if you think about molding the energy to how you want it to go. But a word of caution, Pluto, as I'm sure you agree, Jim, is it's karma, it's the ego. It's linked to those two. It's connected. So you, with some Pluto, you know, one thing I always tell my clients if they have this in their chart, you know, you have to use it for good, the good of everyone. You can't just be changing and blowing up situations with the energy because it's easy for you to do that, to get to a situation that isn't going to help everyone else because there's karma attached to this, you know. So think about the energy of this new moon and what you want to grow for the greater good of everyone and yourself, because there is definitely an element of Pluto likes to know, you know, what's going on. It's almost like keeping things in check a little bit there. So I like to throw that reminder out. And, you know, you do see this a lot in life coaches charts. I just pulled up a couple of people that came to mind. Tony Robbins has a Sun Pluto aspect, and Dave Ramsey does as well. And they are people who can very much inspire and transform people into taking action and progressing and changing. My husband, Michael, who does work with life coaching, also has Sun-Pluto in his chart. So he can help inspire. You know, it's a really useful element. So having this come together with the new moon, I think is really exciting because it adds an oomph into that new growth opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked a lot on that, Jim. So I don't know if there's anything you want to add to the
No, I think
Pluto
you're
there.
good. I think you're good. I think that there's not a lot of obstacle in where we're at right now. I only have one significant square between Jupiter and Mercury, and so I guess my thing would be to all of you, as we have a lot of planets trying to kind of assist each other. So there's not a lot of hindrances. So do you know where you are, and are you going to own that and become who you should be? I think you got to ask that of yourself. So because I think that we're our own biggest enemy, and this moon's going to kind of help us with that. I think where do you stop you? So that's all I'm going to add at this point, and then we got the aspects.
Yeah. And you know, obviously with Pluto there with the sun and it's a new moon, it obviously means that the moon is hanging out with Pluto as well. So we have to watch with this new moon for some, when you get moon Pluto come together, it can feel like manipulation of feelings sometimes, or intensity of feelings. Sometimes it just feels like there is no control over your feelings. So it might be that you just very intently or very passionately know what you'd have to do, or you feel that you just want to do this or have to make this change, because there can definitely be an intensity around emotions when you get them to come together.
Yeah, and with Mars trining all this and finally moving direct, all the communications are trying to assist you, and it's again, I got some strange energies with Mars here with this in this configuration. It's about the message and what do you know, and what are you learning. So where are you tripping yourself up? You know, I just I wrote down fraud figured out, and you know, Mars energy is very strange right now. So start figuring out your uniqueness and you know what you know, and maybe where you can take what it is with where you are. So
yeah, Mars is still not really happy. He's still at 8 degrees. He's stationed to move direct last week and we all celebrated. But he's still, if you look at this chart, still at 8 degrees. He hasn't moved. He's still just stagnant and I just think he's grumpy about that. So it's that feeling of I want to move forward and I want to start moving forwards. And I think with the Mars trining, it's trining the new moon, and it's now saying, okay, gonna try and give it some oomph. I want to give it some oomph, you know, I want to add some zest. You know, Mars gives us that zest of life, usually when he's fully moving forwards at normal speed. So that's what he's wanting to do. Mars is, sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say what I've been noticing is where I'm, and I've already stated it to a degree, where I'm my biggest holdup. Because I think the truth's here, and we got to move forward. As you said, it's not really going to like be in the moment, but with the Aquarian energy being timing being the issue. I think you need to look at yourself a little bit here. Let's go. So.
Yeah, there's no, this chart doesn't have a lot of time for, doesn't feel like there's a lot of time for fun or romance, you know.
Yeah.
Saturn and coming together with Venus. Thank you. That there, they, you know, that's, I got to work. I haven't got time for anything else. I got to work on my money. I got to work on my stuff. There's no time for romance, you know. So that's definitely a flavor of this. And I was going to say as well, Mars is actually making a really tight quincunx to Mercury. here in this chart. Mercury's at 8, Mars is at 8, and obviously, you know, Mercury, um, Mars is in Gemini, which is like Mercury's sign. So them two, when you've got a quincunx in a chart, that's almost it's an adjustment that needs to be made. It's something that needs to be worked on. So Mars and Mercury are saying we need to try something different here to move forwards. So there might be a sense of with this new moon, trying it one way, Gemini, trying it twice, trying it two ways, to be able to adjust to then find out what you learn to be able to then move forwards.
Yes.
So there might be a bit of a learning curve in how we move forwards, I guess.
Yep. It's new. So you don't have all what you need, but it's new. So open your eyes and let's go. Huge opportunities as we try to move forward here.
Yeah, and we certainly do feel like we're moving fast because let's not forget Jupiter up here, the top of the chart, is in Aries. Every 12 years, it's in the sign of Aries. And when Jupiter, which is the planet that makes things bigger, it expands the energy of it, goes into that sign of Aries, leadership, taking on things, having ideas, initiating, moving along quick, it makes that energy feel quick. So we might all feel, you know, that you become sort of, I feel like you become a challenger, a pioneer, you know, with that Jupiter Aries energy. And that's there till May. So it's like, okay, let's get this done. Let's move on. We want to do it. We want to go. Sometimes it can be this impulse to act with Jupiter there as well. So he's in the chart saying, yep, I want to help get things moving, everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a big part of this picture. What other aspects do you want to do? We didn't talk about Uranus. I just realized Uranus rules Aquarius. Well, Aquarius rules Uranus rules Aquarius. So for this Aquarius new moon, we really should be looking at Uranus of some importance. And Uranus in this chart is doing it's big for two reasons. Firstly, you can see it's at 1456. So it's within very, very close orbs of 15 degree, which is the world point. So with this chart, this new moon ruler being right on the world stage, what we usually see around that time is we can see stuff that affects the world globally. Something that might happen out of the blue because it's Uranus, it's shocking, that affects things around the world. And sometimes with Uranus, it can be things that are shocking, that reveal the truth. It's like an urge to find freedom or to move forwards with justice. You know, it's that striving to change and make things better a lot of the time. And the other thing about Uranus is within a few hours of this new moon chart, this planet will station, and it will station direct. And that's really important because I've said it before, when a planet stations, the feeling of that planet, what it represents, becomes really big. So when it stations on January 22nd, we can look for, well, a couple of days either side, Uranus station events, you know, earthquakes, volcanoes, earth events, especially if it being in Taurus, you know, or shocking events that deliver the truth or show us information, you know, that can come up with a Uranus station. And we can also look to people that have Uranus stationing in their chart that maybe will come about in the news. So I think Meghan Markle has a Uranus station in her chart. So it might be that there's a news story with her with this station, because when you have a natal aspect, you know, and then it comes up in a chart and it's big in this way, then it can trigger you to take action, you know.
Yeah, and Taurus is the first of the earth signs. So I put down fraud figured out. And The north node's right there within 5 degrees, and it is trine. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's
Yes, try.
trine Mercury, and so yeah, you can get to the truth, but sometimes you got to get to what's a lie first to get to the truth, so you can figure the truth out in its purest form. So I put fraud figured out. And then the other thing I figured out is Taurus is where we build a base, start the physical process of building that which we can like know that we can work with. And so are you afraid to build something that you truly own and believe in? And are you afraid of that being successful? I think you need to ask yourself that at this time.
Yeah, and obviously there with the North Node, it's really putting us into our future destiny and our collective path as well. So that's interesting. It's going to be an interesting weekend, I think. And the other thing about this, it's really important to realize is that if you look at this chart, there's only one R on the chart. Well, apart from the node, but they move retrograde, so we don't look at that one. You see there's an R here next to Uranus. So that means there's one planet that's currently retrograde because R is retrograde. And when that Uranus moves direct on the 22nd, that means all of the planets are going direct. And what happens when they move forwards, it's a real busy time. And they'll be doing that until it's May, I think, early May, isn't it? When Pluto then moves retrograde. So from this weekend through until May, this is energy that's going to be fast flowing and helping us move. When the planets are all moving forwards, we're all moving forward. So if you need to get a project going or you have been waiting for the energy to change, this is when it's moving.
Yeah, with that comment of all the planets on half the chart, you might be feeling like you're on your own, or you might be feeling like everybody's with you. Don't worry about either of the two. That's why I threw the comment out of afraid of being successful or of being unique. Don't do that to yourself. Find where all these planets pile up and where at in your chart, figure out what the heck you can do, and work from your perspective. This is, I'm not going to say it's an imbalance because we gotta build a better today for a better tomorrow, and that's what we're trying to do here.
Yep. So we're finally getting there. We've been telling you for months. Sit back. We're not ready yet. Times are moving slow, but this new moon is certainly moving us forwards now. So it's exciting times.
Yes.
Okay, I think we might be done.
I'll just add that we plant seeds here, and the seeds we plant may not come to harvest or fruition for years from now. But don't forget that when you need to tend to it, it'll come to your awareness, and this is for the very beginning of building an unbelievable future. So we can always go back to this moon, this time, to go, wow, it really started there as Pluto kind of revealed to us how and what we've done from a long-term perspective and where we're at, and then how we can change and make it better. So all that's happening now. Not everything we did was right. Not everything we did was wrong. So this moon here is going to set us on a path. Throw patience in here. I'm tired of the impatience. Everybody wants an answer. Everybody says the truth's here. The truth's here. The truth is everywhere. But you have to have patience here. We didn't get here in a moment. We're not going to get out in a moment, but we're starting that digging out process, and it's now. So know that, own where you are, own your uniqueness, and let's move forward.
Yeah, that's certainly one to think about with an Aquarius new moon is how are we original? What do we do that's different to others? And how do we do that well? Because we need to have all types of people in the world for the world to work. We need to let that originality shine. Okay, so I think we're good. It was great to get together again to do the new moons. Like I said, we do the new moon and the full moon each month. So we'll be back again for the full moon in a couple of weeks' time, in 2 weeks' time. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, and we can get back to you. And we hope you enjoy this lovely new moon.
Bye-bye.
Until next time. Bye, everyone.